Hello and welcome to another episode of B-Movie Enema the series. I'm B-Movie proctologist Jeff Arbuckle. With me as always is my trusty partner, Nurse Disembodied. Nurse, how's it hanging?
Low and loose and full of juice. How's it going with you?
Why, swell. Thanks for asking. So, if you haven't joined us for the last couple of episodes, the great B-Movie poop chute is malfunctioning. It seems to be turning into a portal or something. That means last week a pack of zombies almost came through, I guess. But we still got to watch Let Sleeping Corpses live. So, that's not the worst thing that could have ever happened. Nurse Disembodied put her carpentry skills to good use and built a zombie-proof door.
Proving once again that I'm not just a pretty face.
That's right. Now, for the last several days, I've had pretty much no activity at the door, so I can only imagine that the zombies just decided, I don't know, to give up and go back home. So, maybe I should check and see what's going on behind the poop chute's door. Alright, now let's see what we got going on down here. Holy crap.
Oh no, what's wrong? What's down there?
Snake. Big snake.
Ugh!
Well, you know, if there's anything good to report, at least the little bugger brought us this week's movie.
Oh, good. What is it?
Jaws of Satan from 1982.
Ooh, spooky. I love a good possession movie, like The Exorcist.
Ooh, it's not one of those types of movies.
Oh, well, Jaws of Satan. Is it a shark movie?
Yeah, not quite.
Well, this is confusing.
Yep, but it was brought to us by a snake, because Jaws of Satan is about a Satan-possessed king cobra.
Go on.
See, I knew you'd come back around. Jaws of Satan has a preacher fighting Satan in the form of a king cobra.
The plot is sounding better and better each time you add more to it.
But wait, there's more.
No way.
Wait, so this Satan cobra?
Yeah?
Well, he begins influencing other snakes in the area where the preacher is.
No freaking way.
Well, yeah.
Snakes talk to each other?
Satan cobras do.
Doc, have I ever told you how much I appreciate you giving me this job?
Hey, it was the least that I could do, but picture all of these snakes hanging out and talking to each other, and then a big snake comes along and says, "Yo, I'm Satan. Want to be my followers?" And then those snakes think it over for a second, and then they say, "Shit, yeah, Satan." Now, I really do love the prospect of this. I certainly hope that this is what writer Jerry Holland and director Bob Claver had in mind when they made this movie. And there's a real possibility this movie is one of those fabled cursed movies of Hollywood. Jerry Holland wrote only one screenplay, Jaws of Satan. The guy who came up with the story for this movie has only one credit, Jaws of Satan. I mean, this could mean that this is a very bad movie, Nurse.
I refuse to believe that. Not with a little Satanist congregation of snakes.
Well, I certainly hope this doesn't portend a terrible outcome. Now, Bob Claver, our director, has had a much more extensive career as a director. However, he entirely worked on TV. A lot of episodes of series like Charles in Charge, Small Wonder, Mork and Mindy, The Facts of Life, The Partridge Family, and Welcome Back, Kotter litter Claver's directing filmography. And he made some TV movies here and there too, but Jaws of Satan is his only credited feature film. And I absolutely cannot say there have been many movies that get a major mainstream release with a trio of first-timers like this. And I also suspect that we'll see why in time. This movie's title was originally King Cobra, and from this poster, it looked a little more like a classic monster movie of sorts, with the artwork and what have you. But however, I think things got a little mucked up in the marketing. You see, in 1975, a little movie called Jaws splashed across the big screen, creating what we would refer to as the blockbuster. Its impact on film should not be taken lightly. It more or less created what would be a huge thing ever since, the concept of the summer movie season. That's when you pack theaters with action flicks and comedies and more lighthearted fare. Despite this being a whole 7 years later, Jaws' impact was still being felt by way of sequels and other nature gone killer movies, so Jaws made it to the title. And another movie that was released 9 years before Jaws of Satan that had all sorts of attention paid to it, was The Exorcist. And that movie was massively influential for years to come. In fact, by the end of the 70s and start of the 80s, Satanic Panic was a craze sweeping God-fearing regions of the United States and Great Britain. Movies about ghosts, possessed people or objects or places, and a little more spiritual style horror became as popular as the slasher flicks of the entirety of the 80s. So Satan made it to the title too. And I do have to wonder though, was Jaws of Satan recut or rewritten during the film? Because this was also the era of unexplained intelligence in creatures to rise up and fight back against humanity. Was this originally intended to be a snake revolution type of film, but it just wasn't working, so they had to bring in the whole possession angle? Or did everyone throw darts at a wall full of spitballed ideas that they decided the snake should be demon possessed?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to find out what this goofball movie has in store for us.
Well, I best do what the lady says. We're going to get the movie started, and we'll come back after the first segment.
Snake eyes again.
Shut up back there. How am I supposed to concentrate? I got dogs going to a racetrack. You bringing a goddamn snake to a carnival. Starting to feel like a zookeeper.
Well, at least my snake's quiet. He just sleeps.
How do you stay with a carnival anyway? Money stinks.
'Cause every town we hit's crawling with field life.
Field lice.
Chicks, man. They like to hang around for the excitement.
Yeah, what chick would want you?
Hey, they all pushovers for anyone in show business.
Well, I better go take a look-see. Somebody might be trying to cop a free ride.
Yeah, you be careful.
going on here? You better come out of there now. I'll come after you. Oh, Jesus.
Hey, fella.
Shh. Damn, you... What's the matter with you?
Bill? Hey, Bill, that you?
Oh, that was a wonderful pork roast, Mrs.
Thank you, Father.
Do you know why a pig is like a saint?
No, Father.
Because he gets more praise after he's dead than when he's alive. Didn't like it, eh?
Now, that's not the sort of joke one expects to hear from a priest.
I'll try to be more careful from now on.
Yeah.
No, leave that. I'm gonna read a little while.
Matt, you old son of a gun. How have you been?
Oh, good, Em. Real good.
Enough talk. Where's my drink?
All right.
Hi.
May I introduce my daughter, Kim? Evelyn is a real live witch.
Are you really?
Yes, really. But I'm a witch who uses her powers for good.
How can it be good if it's witchcraft?
The witches do a lot of good. We heal the sick. We foretell the future and advise lovers. We promote fertility. But don't worry, Matt. I'm not promoting any right now.
Matt, Brady's in the den making campaign speeches again, boring everybody to tears.
Well, I'll rescue them. Excuse me?
Certainly.
This is a lot better party than your last one, Mommy.
Thanks, son. I'm glad you could come, Ev. How's your drink? Need some ice?
No, mustn't dilute it.
Let's sit down.
Why not?
Do you use a crystal ball?
No, crystal ball is just a prop for fake fortune tellers. I use things that people touch or hold.
Like money?
People can't hold on to that long enough to make an impression. The simple things. Something that picks up a person's rhythm, their vibes.
Like what?
The grounds and a coffee cup can tell a lot.
Can you read mine?
Can't read Coco. Let me see your hand. Obey your parents.
Brady, be a good mayor and stop talking so much.
Just trying to pick up a few votes.
You want to pick up a few votes? Shut up. Hello, Madam Witch. Will I make any money in the stock market this year?
Does a pig find truffles in the mud?
How about the dog track? Any predictions on that?
I have a couple.
Well, I didn't know you were a clairvoyant father.
Wouldn't take an ESP to know that gambling will make a lot of people miserable. Some people very rich.
For someone who pays no taxes, you have a lot to say.
Matt, I haven't been introduced to Father Farrow yet.
Evelyn, this is Father Farrow, St. Mike's new pastor. Father Farrow, Evelyn Downs, our town historian.
And local sorceress.
Yes, so I've heard.
Heard a lot about you, too.
Yes, I bet you have.
No, I've been doing some research. You're descended from the Sligo Pharaohs, aren't you?
Yes, yes, I am.
Oh, that's a fascinating family. Goes all the way back to the Druids. They burned witches, smashed temples, and carried on like a one-family inquisition.
Well, you ought to talk to my uncle. He spends most of his time shaking the family tree.
Father Farrow seems to have inherited some of their reforming zeal.
Perhaps just a touch.
Considering your family history, Father, I sure would like to have a look at that coffee cup.
Bet you won't find it very interesting. Oh, are you all right?
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Oh, sure as if I saw it in my crystal ball.
Would you mind telling me what you saw in my cup?
If you walk me to my car, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, sure. You think you should drive? I can drop you.
Never mind about me. You're the one who's in danger.
Is that what you saw in my cup?
You have a powerful enemy.
Oh, Matt Perry. He doesn't scare me.
Oh, not Matt Perry. Never before felt the presence of evil so strongly. It was as if I were looking into the face of Satan.
Oh, come on, Evelyn. Parlor tricks are one thing. We're alone now.
We're not alone. I don't know exactly what it was I saw in the cup. But it wasn't human.
Did it, have a forked tail and little horns?
He wants your soul. Is that a joke to you?
That wasn't Satan you saw, that was me.
How can I make you understand?
Well, let me put it this way. If the devil came to Earth to destroy a priest, he'd choose one that was worth destroying, wouldn't he? Someone worthy of his attention.
Father, I'm very sure about this.
Well, Satan thinks I'm that important. That's something of an honor, isn't it? I'm very flattered. In any case, don't worry about me anymore. I can take care of myself, all right. All right? Good night, Evelyn.
Sheriff, I'm Denise Williams, Channel 3. Could I talk with you a moment?
Sure.
Okay, you stand here. I'll talk a little, you know, police have a mystery on their hands, something like that. And then I'll walk over to you and do an interview, okay?
Right.
Okay. Last night, a runaway train came to a dead stop in a remote area of Greene County. Today, the police have a mystery on their hands. This is Greene County Sheriff George Tatum. What's the word on victim, Sheriff?
There was a young man found on the train who was declared dead at the scene. The engineer was dead when we found him. The only survivor is the brakeman who's listed in critical condition.
Do you have any idea what caused all this?
We're investigating that.
Will this affect the opening of the new dog track?
No way. Everything's under control.
Everything's under control. 2 people dead and 1 in critical condition.
No further comment.
Action News will keep you up to date on the latest developments in this story. From Greene County.
Next time, ring a little longer, will you, Peggy? I barely heard you.
Sorry, Dr. Sheridan.
What's up?
He's been stirring. He said something.
Raise his head a little, please.
It sounded something like steak or quake.
Okay. Save that for Sheriff Tatum. Just watch his vital signs. Don't leave him for a minute, okay?
Right.
I gotta go check on those autopsies. If you need me, I'll be in pathology.
Oh, have fun. Sorry.
Good morning, Kathy.
Morning, Doctor.
Maggie, I got here as fast as I could. How's the patient?
Crossing over into your territory.
Where is he?
Down on 101.
What happened?
I don't know, but I still haven't talked to Owens. Maybe the dead can tell us what the living can't. What is it, Doctor?
Farmer. His son said he was attacked by a snake.
His pulse is a little slow. Did you check for serum sensitivity?
We're on the way.
I'll be with you in a minute.
Oh, sorry. I was up all night.
What'd you find out?
No, fascinating things. Fascinating. Hungry? Home cooked?
No, thanks.
The engineer. Just a plain old massive coronary. Now, he was working on a drinker's liver. Probably would have given him trouble in a couple of years, but other than that, a pretty healthy spot.
Skip the details. Did you find out anything?
Yeah. Okay, hold it. Look at this. Voila.
Christ. What caused that?
Not sure yet. Some kind of puncture.
Got any unofficial guesses?
I think it's a bite.
Bite?
Venomous lizard, reptile, probably snake.
If there's some kind of dangerous snake crawling around, maybe we ought to make some sort of announcement.
I'd watch myself if I were you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Matt Perry has everything staked on that dog track opening.
What's the dog track got to do with it?
You know rumors. You announce there's a renegade rattler loose, and in a week they'll call it a boa constrictor.
I was in the Peace Corps in South America. I saw a lot of snake bites, but I've never seen anything like this. Maybe we ought to bring in an expert from the university.
Perry won't like outsiders nosing around.
I wasn't appointed by Matt Perry, Dr. Owens. I'm calling somebody in now. It's just a kid.
Yeah, just a kid with an A1 case of virulent syphilis.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay. You're Dr. Hendricks.
There's supposed to be Dr. Sheridan who picked me up here. He send you?
I'm Dr. Sheridan.
Whoops.
My car's over here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, what about these snake bites? What's so unusual?
Only one of them is unusual.
Describe it.
Well, it...
Hey, listen, I don't want to offend you, but you might be overreacting.
You'll change your mind when you see the corpse. I just want to drop in on one patient. It's on the way to the lab. Is that okay?
No.
We were clearing the south pasture. When I found Daddy, a rattler had been at him.
How do you know it was a rattler?
It was still there. Besides, I've seen lots of them. But I ain't never seen one as weird as this.
Weird. Weird in what way?
He stood straight up on his tail, swaying in the wind like a cornstalk.
Stood up?
Stood up. Then I chopped off his head with a hedge cutter, but the rest of his body just stood there, straight as an arrow. I got him right here.
Well, it's a diamondback, all right. This is thick. You're a big specimen for this area. It's just a rattlesnake. There's nothing special about it.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen what I told you about at the airport yet? That's the wrong guy. I guess he's on the autopsy table. Where's Dr. Owens?
He had a call from the mayor.
What happened to the cadaver that was in here, the young male?
Released.
On whose authority?
Dr. Owens.
What funeral home?
Someplace in Freeburg. Here it is, Freeburg Crematorium.
I mean, getting high, that's not gonna help.
Yeah, well, Father, thanks.
And let's see a mass occasionally. You know, when problems build up, you can give him the God, you know. He can be quite a trip, too.
Yeah, Father, I know what you mean.
Well, God bless. Nice going, Father Flanagan. Yeah.
Father, it's Evelyn.
Oh, hi, Evelyn. How are you?
It's happened. He's here.
Well, who's here?
Your enemy, the one I told you about last night. I think I understand everything now.
You know something, Evelyn? You're more religious than I am.
There are things you have to learn. Your life may depend on it.
All right. I'll, come over a little later.
No. I'll come to you. Promise me. Promise me you won't go out tonight.
Okay, Evelyn, stay cool. I'll be here all night. You can come tell me about it.
Well, ma'am, this case is closed.
I feel like such a fool having brought you here on a wild goose chase. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, if anything happens, call me and I'll come back.
You're a nice man, Paul. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Don't tell me you never heard of Perry. Where you been? You could bet he's gonna skim a nice piece off them dog track profits, that's for sure.
Hey, you want to watch the road, please?
I don't have to, I know it by heart.
You're on the left side of the road.
Of course, Perry is a little dishonest, no more than he ought to be. Holy, I'll be damned. What did I do wrong?
Beats me.
I never got stopped by an ambulance before.
I think that's for me. Hi.
Hi.
Miss me already?
There's been another snake attack. Same symptoms as the first one.
The one that got away?
This one you'll see.
Well, how can you be sure?
I hijacked it.
I've never seen this kind of toxic reaction. I'm not familiar with it.
This is so weird. All these snake bites like some sort of crazy epidemic. I don't know how to cope with it.
Let's go back to the hospital, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Alright, so we're off and running here with a movie that will ultimately disappoint us.
Yeah, but gosh, you gotta love that setup. A Satan-possessed snake starts manipulating other snakes. How could this go wrong?
Oh man, this is gonna go wrong in many ways, Nurse. Now, my intrepid partner, Nurse Disembody, is correct. This is a movie that seems to kind of hit the ground running. We have a train where the snake busts his way out of its own crate and is able to force a guy to fall out of the train. He opens a door by itself. He forces a dog to attack a guy, and then he sneaks up on that guy and kills him. He even stops the train.
That is one very cool snake.
Yeah, it is, but we don't really have any kind of setup for why this snake is doing what he's doing. Sure, he's slithering here, there, and everywhere, but why? Where does he come from? Why this snake? Has Satan always just hung out as this specific snake? Then how did he get caught? Did he purposely get caught? What gives, movie? Why and what are you, snake? But I digress, though. There are a handful of folks to talk about in this movie, and I think we should probably start right here with some of the supporting cast first. Fritz Weaver plays Father Tom Farrow in this movie. Now, Weaver had a pretty extensive acting career on both TV and film. He appeared in a couple of episodes of The Twilight Zone. He also made the rounds of several popular 60s and 70s TV shows such as The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Rawhide, The Fugitive, Gunsmoke, The Invaders, The Big Valley, Cannon, Night Gallery, and Mission Impossible. Look, the dude was in a lot of TV during those decades. More recently, though, he appeared in The X-Files, multiple episodes of Law & Order, and he appeared in, what else? Star Trek, in the second season episode of Deep Space Nine.
Always comes back to Star Trek.
Shit, yeah, when it comes to TV and theatrical movies, he has some decent credits here. Weaver had a role in the Dustin Hoffman thriller Marathon Man, Black Sunday, about a terrorist attack at the Super Bowl game that was actually filmed during Super Bowl X between the Steelers and the Cowboys. He was also in the Martian Chronicles Creepshow and the Thomas Crown Affair. And a few years before this movie, he also appeared as a Julie Christie's on-screen husband in the science fiction horror film Demon Seed, the poster of which has what appears to be a naked Julie Christie lying on her back, head towards us, and the words, "Julie Christie carries the demon seed," in the shadows caused by her hair. And that's in some in-your fucking face marketing, if you ask me. But for real, it's about Fritz Weaver creating a supercomputer that becomes sentient and kidnaps and impregnates his wife. So take that, Titan. Demon Seed had bonkers pregnancies first.
Didn't it seem like Father Tom was pretty chill as a priest in this town? I mean, there's a literal witch that he's pretty friendly with.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Evelyn Downs is the name of that witch in this movie, and she's played by Diana Douglas. Now, she had a 65-year acting career and was almost 40 years deep in that career at the time of this movie's release. Throughout the 70s, she had guest spots on many of the same TV shows that Weaver was in. Her likely most recognizable film on her resume was 1987's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And while I don't necessarily recognize her for her work in the 40s and 50s like others might, I can say that she has a very interesting role in this movie. And speaking of this movie takes place in Alabama. To be exact, it's Eutaw, Alabama. And Nurse, how would you spell Eutaw?
U-T-A-H.
Silly goose. In Alabama, it is E-U-T-A-W. Now look, I don't want to be a dick to Alabama, but frankly, come on, guys. I would think that Eutaw should be spelled like the state, but the fuck do I know? Anyway, Eutaw, a town that, as of the 1980 census, has a population of less than 2,500 people, is apparently big enough to have a witch, a Catholic priest, in a state, mind you, that is predominantly Southern Baptist, and a full-on county hospital. I don't even have that much stuff in my town that has 6 times that many people today. But yes, I know that Eutaw does have a convent there for nuns, but that does not necessarily mean that it is a Catholic town with a priest hobnobbing with people at dinner parties. Oh, and I should also mention that everyone in this town is whiter than your mama's bleached sheets. Eutaw is a predominantly black town. Granted, that's in today's number, but I would imagine that when the 2000 census said that 66% of the folks living there were black, it was probably at least 50% black in 1980. Eutaw may have been the primary setting, and several Alabama towns and cities served as shooting locations, but I'm going to guess that it's pretty hard to believe that this small town in the Southern Baptist area of the country would have enough room for the witch, the priest, and this hospital, not to mention all the snakes. I don't know.
Seems a bit fishy if you ask me.
Boy, you said it. One last person I do want to talk about in this section is little Kim Perry, played by 9-year-old Christina Applegate. We first see her at the dinner party that pretty much the entire town of Eutaw attended. Well, I guess except the black folks, they weren't so much invited. But anyway, she has a conversation with our witchy lady and learns about what she does as a witch. Of course, everyone would likely best know Christina Applegate as the foxy yet kind of bimbo-ish Kelly Bundy on Married with Children. That show was one of the first programs aired by the newly formed Fox network in the 80s. And was one of the longest running live-action sitcoms in TV history. Applegate was the bombshell daughter of loser shoe salesman Al Bundy. Basically, if you were a young guy, you tuned in to see what Kelly was wearing, but you stuck around for the shenanigans that Al and Peggy got up to in their train wreck of a home life. Applegate would go on to be a very well-liked actress, but never really hit it all that big in film. Sure, she had some films here and there that she would be in, but she never really had a bunch of translation from a somewhat successful and often talked about TV show to being a leading lady in a successful film career outside of supporting roles over time and here and there. But that's also not to say that she didn't get roles in decent movies like the Anchorman films. Ultimately, she would become a fairly strong figure in real life. In 2008, she was diagnosed with breast cancer in an early stage and resulted in a double mastectomy. And she also revealed just last year that she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. She has also been a big supporter of several philanthropic causes. So in the end, Christina Applegate definitely was able to shake that airheaded Kelly Bundy persona and prove to be much, much more than just the pretty blonde on that one TV show. Now, before we get back to the movie, I do want to call out something more about Eutaw, Alabama. In the 1800s, after the Civil War, Greene County, where Eutaw is located, was a hotbed for some pretty bad race stuff. There was a whole bunch of intimidation of black politicians and community leaders, notably in 1870, when black politicians were killed in the county. That led to something called the Eutaw Massacre. 4 black deaths were reported, along with 54 injuries. Most black citizens were scared into not voting in that election, helping the Democratic gubernatorial candidate win. Now, of course, back then, the Democrats were the conservative Southern Party, and the Republicans were where most black voters were, thanks to Abraham Lincoln and such. Now, that didn't tip to the polar opposites until several decades later. Now, later on, during the post-Reconstruction era, lynchings kept happening in Alabama, but none were reported in Greene County during the period. Local officials were known to run things by rule of law, and it was said that the sheriff and deputy sheriff of the county rounded up a posse and chased after a lynch mob who had captured a black resident who was accused of a crime he did not commit. And they were able to bust up that lynch mob and brought the accused man back home to Greene County. And that's kind of awesome. Later in the 20th century, one of the main architects of the civil rights movement, James Bevel, was buried in Utah in 2008. He was known for several works of civil rights protests and such, but he was the director of strategy for the Selma to Montgomery March. So how's that for some pretty cool history, Nurse?
Pretty cool indeed. But we should probably get back to our movie.
Yeah, I suppose we probably should. Witchy Poo is dead, and it sure seems like these goddamn snakes are behind all this business. Now, when we come back, we'll talk about our two lead stars and get caught up with some of the more intricate details of this plot.
Hey, Sheriff? Sheriff, they got some kind of snake over at Willard's Hardware.
Anybody hurt?
No, they got it boxed in.
What kind of snake is it?
Black one.
Natch.
Your motel's just up the road.
What's it called?
Motel? It's the only one in town.
Thanks for the car. You ought to get some sleep. We won't get the results till tomorrow.
Don't worry. Nothing could keep me up tonight.
Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Stay there. Stay there. Wait for me. Wait for me. Okay, get off the bed. Get off. All right.
Give me the gun. Turn, give me the gun.
Sorry. Did I hurt you?
Yeah.
Could you stay for a while? Was Evelyn Downs here last night?
No, she never made it. Must have had second thoughts. By the way, good morning.
Morning. You mean you haven't heard?
Heard what?
She's dead?
What?
Evelyn Downs, president of the Greene County Historical Society, died yesterday. A hospital spokesman said Mrs. Downs died of an unknown ailment. And the rest is just stuff about her activities.
I can't believe it.
She was found on Spring Street.
But she must have been on her way here. Oh, I should have gone to see her instead. She was very upset. Let me see that. Unknown ailment.
Oh, they put that when they don't want to say the real cause, like if it was suicide or the liquor.
This is great. You made everything from scratch, even the rolls.
It's the only way I like to cook. What's he doing here?
Excuse me, I rang your bell, but there was no answer.
It's okay. Paul Hendricks, Father Farrell, Paul.
How do you do?
Good friend. Would you like some coffee?
No, thank you. I just heard about Evelyn Downs' death. I wondered if you could tell me a little bit more about the cause.
The autopsy isn't finished yet.
Then you don't really know.
Why are you interested?
Well, I think she was on her way to see me when it happened.
Okay. We're trying not to jump to any conclusions or make any hasty announcements.
You also don't have any proof.
What are you talking about?
She was killed by a snake.
By a snake?
Paul's a herpetologist.
The wound was extraordinary. I've been studying snakes for 20 years, and I can't identify it.
Do you know anything about all this?
No. No, not yet. Excuse me.
See what's in store for you. This is where you're sent when you can no longer break the wafer.
Very peaceful.
There is no peace except in the mind.
I guess not.
And I think yours is far from peaceful now.
I didn't know it showed.
The bishop was talking about you the other day.
Yes. He said my attitude is bad. I'm not well loved in the parish. He doesn't know what to make of me.
Very close.
That's not what I want to talk to you about.
What is it, Tom?
If this were a case of typhoid, you'd listen to me.
Exactly. But it's not. There was a snake in your room. That's not an epidemic.
Oh, come on. There have been other victims. You ordered one of them cremated.
I spoke to Dr. Owens. He said he didn't know the cause of that death. As far as I could tell, I was dealing with an unknown virus. I had to act fast.
Owens is no authority. Paul Hendricks is a noted herpetologist. He thinks this situation is extremely dangerous. He has agreed to stay here and help us.
Are you sure it's just the snakes that are keeping him here?
I hope not.
I'll investigate the matter when I can.
Will you at least warn the people?
The less people who know about this, the better.
Lives are in danger here.
I'll take that risk.
Now that I've said it, Uncle, it sounds laughable. You're not laughing.
Not time.
What?
Not supposed to happen.
Don't tell me you believe any of this superstition.
Don't call it that. You don't know enough about it.
About it? About what?
How much were you ever told about your father's death?
My father, he died in the war.
He took his own life.
What?
He kept saying that something was after him, something unspeakable. I thought he was suffering from delusions, paranoid fears.
What happened?
That one day he was found, horribly mutilated. A razor clutched in his hand. I believed him then. Too late. I started to trace the family records. I found violent deaths, bizarre incidents, strange disappearances, every third generation. I traced it all the way back, astounded, until I came to O'Farah, a follower of St. Patrick. He was a Helen, the scourge of the Druids. He burned their shrines and the oak trees they held so sacred, so that the Druid high priest pronounced a curse upon O'Farah and all his children, on and on.
To my father?
I still see him, trembling in my nightmares.
But if my father was the third generation, why should I be affected?
When you became a priest, I thought our family would die out with us. I thought it was all over.
There has to be another explanation for this.
If Satan has descended on your parish, there should be signs of his presence. Aberrations of nature. Animals acting strangely.
Snakes.
Remember Genesis. The snake was the first form that Satan ever took.
What can I do?
Your strongest weapon is your faith in God. Despair. The sin against the Holy Ghost, the most mortal of sins. No wonder Satan has come for you now. He chooses his moment with the skill of a diamond cutter. My guess is that you have never been closer to it. It's your soul he's after. A priest would make a bright flame in hell.
Come on, Jan, let's go to the car. It's a little bit more comfortable, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Later, maybe.
What in the hell's going on anyway?
I don't know. Whatever it is, the mayor wants a tight lid on it.
Yeah, we don't need a bunch of drunk hunters out shooting up the woods.
Yeah. Jack.
Huh?
You done any hunting lately? Report every 15 minutes. If you see anything, yell.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
See anything?
Nothing yet.
Keep me posted.
All right.
There's nothing here. Jack? Jack! Come in.
Evelyn Downs seemed more alive than most people. Now she's dead. I have very few words of comfort for you. God has not given us the wisdom to understand His will, nor the sight always to perceive goodness in His works. We stand as if lacking a vital sense at Evelyn's grave and wonder why. And no answer comes. O Lord, whose mercies cannot be numbered, accept our prayers on behalf of thy servant Evelyn, and grant her entrance into the land of light and joy. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, amen.
Amen.
I didn't mean to startle. Look, I've come across something very important. This is a sort of Pharaoh family history. It's written in Gaelic. Mine is rusty, to say the least. But I have managed to work out two things. One, a bit of a puzzle. It seems that one member of the family, Timothy, was a priest, and a third-generation eldest son, the only one to ever die a natural death. Now, it says here that Timothy faced the demon, who was in the form of a large serpent, and defeated him. It says the serpent did not come near him until Timothy was clothed in sacred raiment, but without ornament.
Without ornament?
Timothy faced the serpent in a clúthach.
Clúthach?
That's a natural shelter. And drove Satan from him with a golden sign. Now, what do you suppose that means?
What does any of it mean? It's a lot of superstitious nonsense. Satan in the body. What is it? What's your heart?
Go on. I'll be all right.
Bob.
Please.
It's you he wants. Tom. Uncle. 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 Requiescat in pace.
Now I have to believe that they are using sock puppets to make the snake shadows. I giggle every time I see the shadows.
I know, it's hilarious.
Budget efficient business happening in this movie.
Yeah, and I love how the snake would just kind of pop up. People would be, like going about their business and bam, fucking snake.
Bathtub snake is my favorite.
Yeah, you'd think that maybe finding a big ass spider in the bathtub is bad, but imagine finding a bathtub snake.
And one that is controlled by Satan?
Oh yeah, Satan's got them coming out of everywhere. They're in trains, in the field, in your tub, coming out of the fucking trees. They're everywhere.
Do they even have snakes in Alabama that can bite and kill you?
Oh, fuck if I know. I don't think I want to go down there to find out, just in case Alabama is the U.S. version of Australia. But you know what I do know, though?
What?
The Satan snake, the cobra, he just hangs back and watches as shit goes down.
Hey man, why get your hands dirty when you can make other snakes do it for you?
Yeah, old Satan snake is pretty sneaky.
Like a snake. I have a request for you when I die.
Well, I hope that you aren't planning to do that too soon.
I mean, you never know when a Satan snake will come and get ya.
That is absolutely fair.
But for real, when I die, please make the obituary read, "She died of an unknown ailment."
Got it. But, that's what they put if it's something that they don't really want to say, like drugs or booze or suicide, right?
Yes, but we all know it'll probably be a Satan snake.
Hey, okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but you know what I mean. Any other requests?
Yes. When my body is there on the slab, make sure that the coroner is eating chicken wing snacks and just all willy-nilly all over my lifeless corpse.
You are into some real freaky shit, nurse.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Ooh, you are one spooky chick.
The spookiest.
We'll talk more about that later. But anyway, so basically the gist of this movie is something along the lines of Jaws. I suspect that's why they changed the title of the movie from King Cobra to Jaws of Satan. They wanted to cash in on that sweet, sweet Jaws money. Now, Eutaw is getting ready for a dog racing track. They are going to allow gambling, which could, I imagine, should create a cash windfall for the state. And I think the mayor or the governor or whatever is going to use that to launch a re-election campaign. Now, Christina Applegate's dad was part of the whole deal to help put the track deal together and stands to gain from this place opening up too, but these goddamn snakes.
Ugh, they ruin everything.
Yeah, everyone who has something to gain from this dog track opening and being a big old hive of scum and villainy definitely does not want to hear this shit about fucking snakes. In fact, they are so not wanting to hear about these snakes that the mayor is absolutely anti-working on the snake problem at all. That's maybe even worse than the guy from Jaws who just wants to downplay how many shark attacks happen in order for the beaches to remain open to the out-of-towners. Now, this mayor of Eutaw just doesn't want to do anything about the snakes. Father Tom is finding out that there's some sort of druid curse on his family. That's what led to this whole Satan snake issue. Basically, it's a part of that whole Irish thing about getting rid of snakes. The druids cursed the pharaohs, and so he knows that the Satan snake is specifically against him. Okay, cool. And he is able to successfully defend himself by realizing that the snake doesn't like crosses.
I mean, can you blame Satan snake?
I mean, not at all. I mean, he is Satan snake after all. Now, there are two other heroes out here trying to solve for this snake shit too. Father Tom doesn't have to necessarily take this on himself. First, we have Dr. Maggie Sheridan, played by Gretchen Corbett. She's seeing all these weird bites and how the toxins are messing up people pretty bad. And she's called in snake guide Dr. Paul Hendricks.
Hendricks is a dick when he first meets Maggie. He says Dr. Sheridan was going to meet him, but he assumes that he sent her instead. Dick.
Yeah, that's some casual sexism. But I find that not only shitty, but also kind of out of place. This movie, if it came out like 10 years earlier, then I could see that being something a guy would say. But in 1981, 1982, I mean, bro, we're way past ladies becoming doctors and shit. But I do want to talk about Gretchen Corbett. She has had an extensive career of her own, and she's definitely best known for her work on television. She did a ton of TV movies, but also guest starred on several awesome TV shows like Ironside, Columbo, Kojak, Wonder Woman, and more. She even appeared on an episode of my all-time favorite series, Cheers. And speaking of favorite TV shows, Corbett is best known for 33 episodes as Beth Davenport on The Rockford Files. She even appeared in a couple of the TV movies that came out after the series ended. Beth Davenport was one of James Garner's Jim Rockford's best friends and attorney, and it was even revealed at one point that Beth and Jim dated for a while prior to the start of the series, but she kind of thought that it was best for them to remain friends, with occasional benefits. Corbett recently appeared in the highly praised Nicolas Cage movie Pig, playing the character Mac. As for John Corks, who plays Hendricks, he got his start thanks to Alan Arkin. Arkin was directing a play and Corks got a part. That was 1968. In 1970, he appeared in his first movie, Arthur Hiller's The Out-of-Towners, starring Jack Lemmon and based on a Neil Simon play. Then that same year, Corks worked with Alan Arkin again in Catch-22, and he worked relatively frequently through the next decade or so. And speaking of favorite TV shows, he appeared in a 1989 episode of Moonlighting as a character named Winston Guy. Nurse, I would like to have a cool name like that. Can you look into that for me?
Sure. Sure.
Thanks, you're a real doll, you know that? At least as of July 2018, Corks was teaching drama for the Stella Adler Studio of Acting and taught a masterclass in Rio down in Brazil. But for our purposes, he's still fucking around with snakes in Eutaw, Alabama. So, let's get to that thrilling conclusion of Jaws of Satan.
I don't know why suddenly a lot of people are being bitten by snakes. And I don't know why the snakes were acting so strangely.
Well, what do you know?
I know that a woman known to all of you died of snake bite, and I know that I saw 2 very big rattlers. And I know that the substantial wound that I saw did not come from a rattlesnake.
What about Mayor Thorpe? Shouldn't he be here?
I spoke with the mayor, but his only concern seems to be the dog track. Now you all know.
What the hell is going on here?
I told you, the people have to be warned.
I don't know what these people have been telling you, but if it has to do with a snake, they've been wasting your time.
You think that saving people's lives is a waste of time?
What lives are we talking about?
Evelyn Downs, for one?
Yeah, what about that kid at the lake? Yeah, did they find the body yet?
Kids have been drowning at Moccasin Lake ever since I can remember. And as for Evelyn, Dr. Owens has the autopsy report with him. Doctor?
The cause of death was anaphylactic shock, the result of a severe allergic reaction to a simple bee sting under the right eye.
This whole snake hysteria started with one snake at Willard's store, and Sheriff Tatum took care of that. Now, I suggest we all go back to work and forget about this nonsense.
I was nearly killed by a giant snake this morning at Evelyn Downs' funeral. If the snake had appeared a few minutes sooner, he would have killed many of the people in this room.
Please, this meeting will continue in private.
There you go, sir.
Well, now we have to talk about this dilemma.
Security. Now, you folks listen to me. It's now 2 o'clock. In 24 hours, that dog track opens no matter what. Now, Grady's going to order a curfew from sunset tonight until noon tomorrow. That gives you 18 hours to find those snakes and kill them.
That's not enough time.
Well, that's the time you've got. Now, Sheriff Tatum will deputize all the men that you'll need. Now, if you haven't solved the problem when the time's up, keep your faces shut till that track opens, or you'll find yourself pissing in a jailhouse, John, faster than you can blink.
On what charge?
We'll come up with something. Don't think I'm afraid of that turned around collar either. I'd lock up the Pope if he tried to screw up this deal.
They like certain kinds of terrain. We've got to find the right area.
looks right.
They'd like to sun themselves on the rocks. I think that's a good bet.
Open it wide.
Thanks.
That's 5 normally defensive snakes behaving aggressively. It's weird. You know, it's like they're heading in the same direction. What's up there?
I don't know.
You sure? Someplace that might attract them. Darkness, crevices, moisture.
Cave.
thought you said the guy was reliable. I don't want to hear any more nonsense about snakes. He knew his job, he just failed to carry it out. Now you tell him to get on his bike and ride it away from this town, or I'll get him locked up. Now do it.
I don't get it.
Well, they all shed their skins.
At least that proves he's in there.
Yeah, or was. If he shed this, he'll probably be out in the prowl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a few things. Some anti-venom. Well, look, maybe when we're back there, we can ask him to extend that curfew.
We can try.
Yeah.
That's him. Is this what you saw?
Yes, sure, that's it.
All right, now, supposing that this particular king cobra was more than just a snake, supposing this was the embodiment of evil.
What are you getting at?
Evelyn Downs was trying to warn me of something. She was killed. My uncle, the Monsignor, knew his secret. The serpent caused his death. This new man in the hospital, maybe he knew something.
And the first one, the boy on the train.
Yes.
It can't be just coincidence.
You understand what you're saying? Snakes don't make plans. They're pure instinct. Nothing separates them from their subconscious. Something happens and they respond. They don't think.
The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made.
It's a snake. It's a goddamn big snake.
It is Satan!
This whole thing's a pain.
What whole thing?
This curfew garbage.
There are dangerous snakes out there, Matt.
There've always been snakes in this area. But we didn't have to lock ourselves in the house to fight. You leave snakes alone, they leave you alone.
Everybody isn't obsessed with the dog track, you know. That's all you think about anymore.
You're living pretty well because I think about my business investments.
There's a difference between good business and taking advantage of people. You've changed lately, and it's not a pleasant change.
Was that cat outside? Did you go out after it?
Yes.
You were told not to go outside. There's a curfew, you know that.
But that's why I had to get Bandit. He was all alone. I was really worried about him, Dad.
I understand.
I don't. Now, you disobeyed, and you might have been hurt. You're grounded for the rest of the week.
But what about the opening tomorrow?
I said the rest of the week.
Daddy.
You heard your mother. This is going to be the biggest thing that ever happened to this state.
Hey, open it up, will you, Chief? I've got money to lose.
Give it to me. I can guarantee you'll never see it again. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Your dad's inside. You want me to have him page?
Oh, no, he's probably busy.
Go on in. He's showing some people around.
Okay.
What happened?
Oh, my God.
Sorry, man. Mayor wants me out at the track.
That's okay.
Shouldn't you get her to the hospital?
Better not move her. For some damn reason, her body's reacting to the bite twice as fast as it should. The hospital's sending over some anti-venom.
I'm going out and tell the people there won't be an opening.
Wait a minute.
Not today, man.
Adrenaline?
Do you know where he is? The caverns.
This is the cup of my blood, the blood of the new and everlasting covenant. It will be shed for you and for all men, so that sins may be forgiven. Do this in memory of me. Satan!
Sancte Michael Arcangele, defende nos in praelio, contra nequitiam et insidias diaboli esto praesidio, tuque princeps mit... Satan! I surrender the cross. Not you, he's after.
Heartbeat's almost normal. We can get her into the ambulance now.
Okay, let's go.
Is she going to be all right?
I think so. I'm going with her.
So am I.
No. You stay here. You take a look at this place and you just think of what you almost paid for it.
Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Speak but the word, and my soul will be healed. Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Speak but the word, and my soul will be healed. Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Speak but the word, and my soul Militiae caelestis, Satana, Arios per spiritus malignos, quia perditione animalem propagant per mundo, defini virtute, in inferno, detrude.
The church had that Illuminati-like symbol in that stained glass thingy. Are they behind the snake attacks? Did they call Satan Snake? I knew it!
Oh, come on now, nerds. Don't tell me you're one of those conspiracy theorists now. I told you to stop fucking around on Facebook.
I'm just out here trying to find truth and fight a pretty evil group of people controlling the world that probably, definitely doesn't exist.
Uh-huh. So anyway, if you know that a cave has a shitload of snakes inside, and your buddy went in there to potentially kill said snakes, and he hasn't returned, would you go in there too? I mean, is that a good... Wait a minute. Nurse, how do you think those snakes got Dr. Maggie onto that altar? You think that she got, like, carried over there? Or if so, how many snakes does it take to carry a full-grown human woman over to a stone altar, lift her up onto it, and then place her there for Satan Snake?
Hang on a second. Let me do the math. 7. Yeah, 7 snakes.
Well, I can't argue with that math. I have no basis to even try. Now, is it possible that Satan Snake, like, held a little gun up to her and told her to get on that altar, or she'd get it? Or maybe Satan Snake had a couple of his snake buddies over by Hendrix and told her that if she didn't get on the altar, he'd have his buddies bite him. I really think that they should have shot one of those scenes.
It really could have helped this movie.
Yeah, this was a bit of a dud. There's a nugget of something interesting here. Demon-possessed snake? Yes, please. But never really feels like there's a snake invasion happening here. There's a movie called The Giant Spider Invasion from 1975. Now, without going down the whole rabbit hole of Black Hole bringing these alien spiders to Wisconsin, there were spiders all over the fucking place. It felt like a true spider invasion was going on. Not a perfect one, but it at least felt like the place was getting overrun. Here, there are, I don't know, like 9 snakes and a Satan snake for this whole county. I mean, only a few people died. Then the priest takes on the snake, and then the end.
Yeah, he pretty much did what amounts to the magnifying glass light trick. Like, he came in, held up his cross, it reflected on Satan's snake.
And he lit that bitch up.
You at least have to appreciate how Alabama deals with snakes. Call animal control? Nope. Call the cops and let them bring in some shotguns to a snake party.
Yeah. I also like that the mayor gives Hendrix, Father Tom, and Maggie 18 hours to kill all the snakes. If they fail, they go to jail. But on what charges?
On the charge of preventing the opening of a dog racing track.
I mean, good call. I mean, that is a federal offense.
Was it really all that necessary for the mayor to hire that mugger to attack Maggie?
Yeah, that's a weird segment in the movie. I mean, she gets drive-by hit on, then he forces her off the road by playing chicken with her.
But she was in a car and he was only riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, then he tries carjacking her, and I think he also wants to rape her because, of course, but then...
Satan Snake!
Yeah, Satan Snake is kind of the hero in this scene. Granted, he still tries going after Maggie and busts her window to try to get to her before she's able to finally drive off. Still, he did her a solid.
If I ever get carjacked, I hope Satan Snake comes and saves me.
I would hope so too. I mean, I love that Hendrix isn't buying a sentient snake is behind all this and says, it's a snake, a goddamn big snake. Now, there are a couple of goofs in this movie that I have to call out because they are pretty bad. First, at the big opening for the racetrack, our friendly sheriff is there helping out and celebrating and what have you. Pretty soon after that, we see the same sheriff driving Hendrix to the cave, and with him, when he finds the giant shedded skin of Satan Snake. The sheriff then says he has to go because he's needed at the track. Whoopsies. Second, and maybe the worst, is that Maggie goes to a phone booth to tell Father Tom that Hendrix has gone to the cave, and she's not heard from him in a while. But they didn't loop her dialogue in. We see her clearly talking but making no sound. On the other end, the priest is responding to her, so we at least get the gist, but they either needed to add her dialogue or cut her part of the visual side out of the movie. Double whoopsies.
Nobody's perfect.
I guess not. So why don't you give your final score? I think we all know where this is headed because, well, we all just watched Jaws of Satan together, but go for it, nurse.
Well, they can't all be winners, and that's definitely the case with Jaws of Satan. Not enough snakes. Not enough to do anything with a pretty interesting and bonkers idea of Satan-controlled snakes. Basically, a dull movie all around. Even though it wasn't boring at all, it's just bland. And where were all the crazy snake attacks? Don't get me wrong, I like being surprised by sudden snake attacks like we saw, but there needed to be like a dozen attacks like that, and we only got like maybe 6 total? It's, in my professional B-movie nursing opinion, that Jaws of Satan only gets 2 poops out of 5. A real disappointment, especially after you read this short synopsis on Wikipedia or IMDb.
Yep, it's truly disappointing. Jaws of Satan is just one of a whole shitload of snake movies. There are giant snake movies, motherfucking snakes on motherfucking planes, genetically enhanced snakes, that one Andy Sedaris movie in which there's a snake that ate a cancer-infested rats. I mean, Indiana Jones did stuff with snakes, I think. But my point is, Jaws of Satan was not one of those embarrassing situations in which people thought about making a snake movie Then this movie shit its pants so bad they had to throw those pants away, and everyone gave up on the idea of snake movies forever. Snake movies are one of the top creepy crawly things that people have fears of. So, yeah, snake movies weren't deterred by this pooper. And neither should you be about B-Movie Enema the series. Nurse?
What's up, Doc?
Well, 'twould appear that the snakes are happy with us covering one of their movies for once.
Well, that sounds like good news.
Yeah, well, I can't say I can complain too much. We talked about their stuff, they let us be. I still need to deal with that poop shoot business, but not every week will end up as nicely tied into a bow as this week.
I sure hope next week's movie will at least be a little better.
Oh, surely it will be. I mean, how bad can it be compared to... Ah, fucking snakes!